Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to your day and looking forward to our live here this morning. And nice to have some folks come on and join us. And Rosa, you're first up. Rosalinda, good morning to you. Thanks for coming on. Linda, how you doing? Charlotte, good morning to you. Holly and Mike from Norland. Joe, BC, good morning, Joe, bright and early. Carrie, Wendy, Barbara, and Nellie. Mara from Windsor. Helen, good morning to you guys. Jocelyn from Sturgeon. Jeanette from our staff. We appreciate you. Micheline, Lisa, good morning to you. Zian, our dear friend. And Keith, Colleen, and Diane, another Diane from Thunder Bay. Sean, how's my buddy doing? Good to have you on with us. Doris, another Diane, 3 Dianes at least. Jerry, Nouveau Brunswick, Jeanette, Elaine, and Kevin, Judy. Okay, a couple of more and we'll get going. Ho Hung, I hope I said that right. Donna, good morning to you. Sue, Manitoulin Island. Kim from Timmins, good morning, Kim. Another Kim, right after you. Roland from Vermont, beautiful place. Patricia, Alberta, bright and early. Sylvie, Chantal, good morning to you, Chantal. Louise, right from our hometown, Sudbury. Jaden and Micheline. Okay, some disturbing trends we're going to talk about this morning. Some disturbing trends. These are brand new statistics. I listened to a physician yesterday being interviewed, and he was saying this. I'm going to quote him. He said, "It's a sad fact that this virus has been around for a year and a half, and we're still not telling people what the main problem is." Dr. Darwish Mozarin. What a quote. "It's a sad fact that this virus has been around for a year and a half, and we are still not telling people what the main problem is." It's interesting because you and I in the past have talked about a couple of things. One of them is metabolic syndrome. Now, metabolic syndrome is 88% of the population. And when you have metabolic syndrome, and I'll explain that again in a second, metabolic syndrome, guys, is food. It's food. 88% of the population has some form of metabolic syndrome, and that's food. And the wrong foods increase your insulin. And when you increase your insulin over a period of time, you get a condition called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance creates a process in the body. It's never good. It creates inflammation, a silent, destructive killer. And what insulin does, it elevates your triglycerides, decreases your HDL, it increases your blood pressure, it increases your visceral fat, visceral meaning around your organ fat, and none of that is good. And what this doctor was saying in an interview is, here we are, we're 18 months, just, I think, right, about, into this, and we haven't taught the population anything that's going to help them in the long run. Now, you and I have talked about the unintended consequences. We've talked about mental health. We talked about our children, our grandchildren. They seem to have been thrown under the bus for them. What are the consequences of that down the road? Not good. Well, we already see a lot of it, but it's not good, guys. And again, we're just to say this, please, let's not have a war on our Facebook over this. No war, okay? We're just bringing out some facts. Just bringing out some facts. And I'm aiming at you guys so that for you personally and for the circle of influence that you have, let's at least try to be a good example. Let's try and be a good example, because your immune system won't work properly. There's always, guys, you are always going to have to fight viruses and bacteria. Always. You're going to have to fight it. It's a war that it's never going to end. You need to take care of yourself as much as possible. The one thing you can do is eat right. So we've been talking about it. We've talked about getting your immune system. And let me just read some facts here. This is from Disturbing Trends from the CDC 2018. Then I'll show you some statistics of 2020, 2021. They're out. Listen to this. In 2018, the CDC said 42% of the American population was obese. 42%. That was up 30% in 20 years. That was in 2018. Since 2020 and 2021, listen to this, okay? Because I call it the Netflix disorder or Netflix syndrome. Let's call it that, okay? Rather than a disease, it's a syndrome. The Netflix syndrome. What do I mean by that? People have stayed home. The schools were closed. The shutdowns occurred. My word, in Australia, everything is shut down. But listen to this. This comes from 2021 out of the CDC, 61%. 61% of the population in North America have reported weight gain in the last 18 months. 61%. The average weight gain, this is crazy, guys, has been 15 pounds. In children, 5 to 11, 26% increase in weight gain. 12 to 15 years old, 23%. 26%, 5 to 11. 12 to 15, 23%. 16 to 17-year-olds, 20% increase in weight gain. The Netflix syndrome. This brings metabolic syndrome because you don't gain weight without your insulin becoming resistant. Remember, your cells at the cellular level, they resist insulin. They get tired of it. It's the neighbor coming over every day. Oh, I'm sick of that neighbor. I wish they wouldn't come over so often. But when you eat carbs, when you insist on eating crappy carbohydrates, seed oils, sugar, bread, pasta, rice, cereal, sugar, sweets, pastries, juice, milk. When you drink sugar, Doc, it's orange juice. Under no circumstances ever drink orange juice. Don't drink orange juice. Don't drink apple juice. Don't drink. God meant you to eat it. Don't drink it. It makes an enormous difference to your insulin levels. So your cells develop resistance. What does that mean? What does that do? Well, when your cells are resistant to insulin, remember, insulin is the traffic cop outside of Costco at Christmas. He must park sugar. You have a piece of bread, it's sugar in 5 seconds. And the traffic cop, insulin, says, sugar, come here. I am getting you out of your bloodstream. Now listen, if you have insulin resistance, it doesn't matter in the sense that insulin doesn't stop working. It just secretes even more and more and more and more. Why? Because it will force more and more cars into the parking lot. It will park them like sardines in there. And that's what starts metabolic syndrome. It's simply a matter of food. Of food. Now, we're still not talking, right? The world won't talk about it. It won't talk about it. It won't say what to do. Here's the National Health Institute. Okay, the National Health Institute. Here's what they said. What happens when you gain weight? Here's what they're saying. Remember, the average weight gain was 15 pounds in the last 18 months. The average. Man. 11 pounds. This is the NIH, okay? They're saying if you gain 11 pounds, you have almost an 80% increase in your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Now, let me stop. A lot of people, and I mean most people, even though diabetes is somewhere around 50% of the population, that's the last thing that happens. Oh, Doc, I'm not a diabetic. Well, I looked at blood work this morning, and I saw an A1C, and I said, this person really is a diabetic. Because their A1C was high. But they're not going to be told they're a diabetic because their glucose, their sugar, their fasting sugars or whatever are still within normal limits. They're high, normal, but they're still within normal limits. Oh, you're not a diabetic. Yes, you are. You really are. And, you know, I've said this so many times. Don't deceive yourself, guys. Don't deceive yourself. The worst deception in the world is self-deception. Be very careful. Treat yourself as a diabetic if your glucose levels, even if they're in the high normal or your A1C. If it's creeping up over 5, you're getting there. And it means you have to take things under control. You must take control of your body. Don't wait for the government. They're not going to do it. Heck, nobody's even talking about this. You know how we had sessions about the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about? When I listened to this interview with this physician yesterday, you know, it was a breath of fresh air. He was just saying it. He said, man, oh man, when we look down the road and nobody's talking about what's going to happen here with people gaining weight. £11 increase in diabetes, 24 pounds increase of stroke. %, listen to this, 63% of all hospitalizations in the last 18 months were people that were overweight. 63%. And I'm telling you, it was about 90% of people that had metabolic syndrome. High blood pressure, high inflammatory markers. One of the markers that I like in terms of looking at insulin is uric acid. I'm going to do another teaching on it. There's been a couple of really good studies about uric acid. And when it's even slightly elevated, I'm not talking about gout, okay? And this is what I was saying before. A lot of people, until they get sick, they don't realize their body has been screaming at them that they have, their insulin is going up and your cells are resisting it. There's a lot of things that happen in the body before you actually have diabetes. Because diabetes, your body does everything it can to keep sugar out of your bloodstream until it can't. But up to then, there's a lot of clues. Your body screams at you. One of them is high blood pressure. It's not salt, it's sugar. The other one is acid reflux. You know, just uncomfortable. Your body's yelling. You got insulin resistance. Edema. It's not, it can be dehydration too, yes. But a lot of times it's the body saying, look, the kidneys are being affected. A lot of people walk around, because it's not, their kidneys, there's no organs in your body that are as sensitive to sugar as your kidneys are. You need kidneys to work. And when you're a carboholic, you're putting an enormous amount of stress on your kidneys. And, you got protein, your protein or your creatinine is high. And people go, oh, doc, it must be all the meat I'm eating. No, it's all the sugar you're eating. Protein in the urine, high protein. And this is where, I used to get a migraine thinking about this. When doctors would tell their patients, quit eating meat or not too much protein because protein is hard on kidneys. The migraine starts when I hear that. Protein isn't hard on your kidneys. Sugar is hard on your kidneys. Bread is hard on your kidneys. Pasta is hard on your kidneys. Orange juice is hard on your kidneys. Juice smoothies. There's a double migraine. I watch kids juice smoothies. I want to go in. I love coffee. You guys know that. I like Starbucks coffee too. I just like coffee. When I go in there and I see those baristas or whatever they call themselves making those drinks, it's usually young people. And they have all these lattes and this and that. You just have to understand, me inside, I get the triple headache because my blood pressure is going up. I want to yell out as I go in, stop! Don't drink sugar. The only thing worse than eating sugar is drinking it. You want to put an assault on your kidneys? Wow, that'll put an assault on them. It's like taking your kidneys in the back alley and punching the living lights out of them. Can I let you in on a secret? You want to invest? You got any extra money you want to invest? Put that money into companies that make dialysis machines. See, that's your body screaming at you. Ask a diabetic when they finally are diabetic. One of the things, there's some things that fall apart, and one of them is kidneys, usually. They're in deep trouble. They're in deep, deep trouble. And the idea is not to eat anything you want in moderation. I hate that word. Somebody put it on our Facebook group, and listen, you know me, I love people, okay? I do. I love our people. You have no idea. But this lady put on everything in moderation, and I could see I had an angina attack. Not everything in moderation. No, that's the food industry. That's their mantra. The unintended consequences. It's going to be catastrophic. The world is going to never recover. I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about the unintended consequences, the Netflix syndrome. Staying home, not moving, gaining weight. Never mind mental health. I mean, that's huge. I've spent a lot of time talking about that. Guys, this is incredible, incredible. Disturbing trends. That's what the name of this podcast is. Facebook, Disturbing Trends. The body is yelling, and we need to clue in. Unexplained pain. It's inflammation. It's a side effect of insulin resistance. A lot of people get that before they get diabetes. Like I said, your body is amazing. It will do everything it can to block or stop you from becoming a diabetic. It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Disturbing trends. Let me bring this one out here. Because I read this yesterday too, and I just want to talk about, because Carolyn asked last Friday, I didn't get to it, okay, was asking about, again, what does non-HDL total, non-HDL, like total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol and non-HDL cholesterol. And guys, again, when you look at your blood work, focus in on two numbers. One, as far as your lipids are concerned, find out your triglycerides and find out your HDL. But if you want to know the truth, this is a large Framingham study. Men whose total cholesterol was low, total cholesterol. Men, if your total cholesterol is low, you're 3 times more likely to get colon cancer. Three times. That came out yesterday. And I said, yep, that's true. If you insist on lowering your cholesterol, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. It was never true. It never will be true. You don't want to lower cholesterol under any circumstances. You want to lower triglycerides. That's different. You want to elevate your HDL. And when you eat carbs, when you eat packaged goods, when you eat fast foods, you know what's going to happen? Your HDL will go down and your triglycerides will go up. Yep. And the only reason we're talking about it is because the pharmaceutical companies make medications. Here's one, new one came out. I'll probably pronounce it wrong. Inclisiran. INCLISIRAN. It's an injection. The media said, okay, because I read this over the weekend. The media said it was a game changer. So I read it. The media says this is going to be a game changer. You get a shot of inclisiran, or I don't know how to say it, from Novartis. It's a game changer because it mops up your LDL. It lowers it by 15% over 18 months. Whoopie doopie. Whoopie doopie. Give everybody a high five. I have low LDL. Who cares? What does it mean? Large USA study came out on the same day of 140,000 patients with an acute heart attack. Large USA study, 140,000 patients with an acute heart attack actually had low LDL on arrival. $140,000 acute heart attack, 140,000. You know what they had in common? They had low cholesterol. They had low cholesterol. Looking for love in all the wrong places. It's a hoax. They don't want to talk about, you know what, cut out your carbs. They're more worried about you cut out your butter and your bacon and your eggs and your cheese. That gonna give you cholesterol. 140,000 patients came out on the same day as the news release of a statin injection. Crazy, isn't it? I told you, I'll always bring you the news behind the news. And I'm going to put my slant on it. And I know I'm hardly opinionated. Somebody said to me the other day, would you finally get off the fence, you? I kind of laughed. Okay, I'm opinionated. Remember yesterday? Get the truth and never sell it. Okay, guys. Carolyn, I had to answer your question at the end because I realized there's 4 or 5 questions last Friday I didn't get time to get into. I started pontificating. I got on to rabbit trails last Friday. Okay. So, if you have any questions, make sure you send them in for Friday's broadcast. We invite your questions. We see hundreds and hundreds of people a week joining our Martin Clinic private Facebook group. We love to have you in there. Get your friends, a little bit of advertising. Get your friends and family that can't join us at on live in the morning that they can either watch it again, but they can get the podcast. I really try and promote the podcast. The Doctors In podcast that you can get right on your smartphone. You can subscribe to it. The Martin, at the Martin Clinic. You can subscribe to The Doctor Is In. Get it right on your smartphone or on your tablet. Your smart device, I meant. Okay. The Reset book, back in stock. So thanks so much for your support of that book. I'm writing another one. I could write 3 or 4. I get an idea a week. But I'm focusing in a little bit more. I want to get another book out. Okay? But anyway. We'll talk to you soon. We love you guys.